Hi, I'm Bob Vila. Welcome home again. It's getting close to the end of this project. Today we're building a fence along the property line. Then I'm taking you inside the kitchen to tour the finished installation. All the appliances are working right next to all these beautiful cabinets. Then we'll be in my workshop. We're going to create an insert for an old armoire so that we can have a TV entertainment center in the master bedroom. And then on the third floor we've got the real entertainment center with Bose surround sound. Stick around. It's good to have you home again.
Bob Vila's home again.
One thing about living in an urban situation is that you have property lines, houses in close proximity, and you want to deal with privacy and beauty. And our landscape architects have taken care of a lot of the requisites in terms of beauty. They've put in a combination of lilacs and red-stemmed dogwood along the property line here so that when they're bare you can see the neighborhood. In the summer they'll be beautiful, but I especially like them in contrast against our fence, or just picture it in the snow. Here we have the beginning of a solid fence which will give us privacy in this parking area and hide cars from the neighbor's view. It's 6 feet high. It's made out of western red cedar. And Jay Triandafilo, and from Architectural Fence, you and the fellas are doing a marvelous job.
Thank you.
But here is where you have the real challenge, right? Because we have these hemlock trees that someone planted long ago on the property line.
Yes, what we did, Bob, is we shot you a straight line on your property, and without
removing the trees.
Without removing the trees, we were able to scribe. We have to scribe these sections in place.
This is exactly what you're doing. So that when you put this section in through here and join the two,
you'll see the trunk of the tree.
We're going to see some of the trunk of the tree.
And the rest will be solid fence.
I think it's a neat way of doing it.
It is.
Obviously you don't want to disturb the trees.
Yes.
How do you go about scribing?
What we do is we hold the panel up, this part being flush with this post here.
Yeah.
We have an extended pencil.
A very simple device. You
Yeah.
just put a pencil on the end of a little piece of wood here.
And we trace the trunk of the tree right down along the section line here.
And of course, that will probably require making several cuts, because your first cut's going to be rough, and then you'll fit it up against it and cut it again.
That's correct.
All right, well, I'll get out of your hair.
Thank
We
you.
want to go tour the kitchen, but first let's take a look at this gate that they made. This, if you have followed some of the detailing inside the house, this echoes the architrave that we have in the front hall. And of course, they've laminated to get this arch. Let's go take a look at the kitchen. Now, we've just gotten the kitchen door installed, and let me tell you, there's nothing like having a kitchen that incorporates a little bit of a mudroom so that when you come in, you've got a place to hang up the outerwear. The idea here is the whole kitchen space has 3 main areas. This area is, as I said, a mudroom, a place for clothing, as well as a larder or pantry for foodstuffs, a secondary sink in this area here for flour arranging or for doing salads and the like, our side-by-side refrigerator, which of course is the cold larder. And what I love about these big Sub-Zeros is that you can fit in and flush mount the siding. This is the beadboard siding, the same exact stuff that we've got everywhere in the kitchen. Over here, we've got one of 2 Jenn-Air extra large convection or regular ovens with all the digital controls. And what I really like about this is that it gives you the option to have the baking operation or the turkey or whatever going on in here, and you got a secondary oven in the main area of the kitchen where you can be doing other stuff. Now, the third element is the galley kitchen itself. So that here you've got a huge combination of things happening, but what we wanted to do in terms of the design was really kind of to look towards a commercial installation, a restaurant installation. And we've got a fabricated stainless steel hood, which was made right here in Weymouth, Mass. But most major cities have these type of companies that will manufacture. They're loath to do it for a residential job unless the architect really knows his stuff and has done a great job. See this? This is a souvenir from the old Julia Child set on PBS years ago. It was given to me, and we kind of incorporated it here. So that you have the option of using all these pots and pans and having them right where you can see them. The stainless steel continues down as a backsplash and a shelf, and as these beautiful counters that flank our stove. And you got to see this, because when a fabricator really does quality work, they can do a beautiful rounded edge like that. And so we've flanked our cooktop with stainless steel. The cooktop itself is from the Brown Stove Works, a 5-star model. And this is, well, it's an incredibly heavy-duty and high-quality affair. But one of the things that it has that's really wonderful is it has the high-output burner, which you can turn back to a micro simmer, where you actually only have the center part burning so that you can really simmer a sauce very, very lightly. And in the middle you get a barbecue, which you can pull out and replace with a skillet, depending on what you want to cook. So this is the heart of the kitchen. This is really where we're going to have some fun. And of course, on the opposite side, at 42 inches, the ideal dimension, we've got the complete preparation area. And you'll notice this unusual countertop material is soapstone, a product that originally was used extensively in the 19th century out of Vermont. The quarries up there have been exhausted for large stones, and these stones, in fact, come from Brazil. The beauty of this soapstone is that it comes raw, as it were. You fabricate it on site. You can take a regular router and you can do these edges and these bull noses quite easily. And when you've completed, you got a natural surface that you can do food preparation on, although it tends to dull your knife, which is another reason for using good butcher blocks. These are hard rock maple from Eastern Butcher Block, which I've always loved to have because you can just carry them around from place to place. The main sink in the kitchen, the Kinetico purified water source, and of course our good old Moen valve, not European, made in America, which gives you those same terrific features. The dishwasher, this one's a Jenn-Air as well, and the big thing with European dishwashers is they're so quiet. Listen to this when you put it on one of the cycles. It's an extremely quiet machine, very, very high quality. And then you go from this middle third to the third part of the kitchen, which is where we've got the family eating arrangement. You've got this element here where you can take the dishes and bring them right over here, and you can get a kid to put them away after they're done in the dishwasher. And then, of course, the butler's pantry area over here, where our installers, Todd Allen and Jimmy Shields, have done a spectacular job of blending all these cabinets and putting in all these wonderful moldings. And in fact, we've got a couple of nifty features here, such as this. These are also Sub-Zero, a new product where you can have a secondary refrigeration area, breakfast area, and it matches the cabinets. Anyway, I'm in love with the kitchen. We've got a break for messages. I'm going to go up our brand new staircase. When we come back, we'll be in the master bedroom looking at an armoire that I'm going to turn into a kind of an entertainment center. Stick around. Our next project is right here in the master bedroom, and it involves a fun project. This is an armoire, probably 80 years old or so. I bought it a long time ago for very little money. The doors are a little warped. And in any case, I thought it would be good to use it here not for hanging clothing, but rather as a mini entertainment center in the master bedroom. I've got this large television set, and the idea is to house it in here, but if you just put it in, it would be too low. So what we're going to do is we're going to design and build an insert that will retrofit this thing to act as an entertainment center. We'll have the TV up higher, room for a VCR, and we'll flank it on either side with storage for tapes. But let's go down to the workshop, and we'll hook up with Bob Ryley, who's already got a little bit of a start on the project, and we'll show you how to do it. Hey, Ryley.
Hey, Bob.
How's it going?
Good.
So you've already got a head start on us here with our set of shelves.
Yes.
And let's look at this a minute, because the actual thing that we're building, if you will, is composed of 4 verticals and 3 or 4 horizontals. But it's basically a box with shelves that we're going to be fitting together. And the key is to fit it and to have the kind of joints that'll give you lots of strength.
Right.
That's what you've been working on right now, is rabbiting out.
Right, we're done with all the rabbiting, and so I think we're about ready to dry fit this whole thing.
Okay, this is the base. That's the shape of the box.
This is
Where's the
one
other side?
That's it right there.
Now, that gets glued and nailed, and then this is the one for the other side, right? But
Yeah. Okay.
I think we have to finish these off, don't we?
Oh yes, right. We've got to chisel out where the radial arm wouldn't go through.
Exactly. When you cut with the dado blade, you get to a point where you have the blade curvature naturally coming up, and if you want that to square off, you've got to go at it with a chisel and a hammer. So let's get that cleaned up. Okay. We're going to put a bit of carpenter's glue on the corners of this box, if you will. The areas where the shelves themselves go, we'll skip the glue and just nail them in. Okay, let's get the other side on.
Snug.
Now we'll put the top on and I won't need to hold it anymore. With the basic box done, we'll assemble the flankers, which will basically give us shelf space. Here we go.
Okay.
Shelf space for VCR tapes. You know what? I gotta. Yeah, there it is. Okay, go ahead. Now, because the antique piece is made out of a wood that looks to be cherry, we've invested in a little bit of cherry stock that we're using, first of all, as two decorative gussets, these angles. These angles will help to give the piece strength. Let me hold it.
Okay, we got the gun in there.
Okay, and now from the side, we're actually going to drive a screw into it to tighten everything together.
Yeah.
Good.
Hold it good and square.
Now, we'll fit our shelves into the slots, and we're going to fasten them also with the nail gun. Okay, now can we put in the central shelves?
Yeah, all set for those.
And these are fitting in nice and snug, the little ones. We don't need to glue them or anything.
You might
but
have to spread that a little bit. Open.
there you go.
Good, good. One more.
One on the top.
Okay.
Strong. Now these two do want to get nailed, and in order to do that,
There you go.
get Ryley around the front there. All right, now let's lay it down flat on the bench. And this face is the face that you'll see when the armoire is open. So rather than leave the undressed edge of the plywood, we're going to take a little bit more of that cherry, rip it down, and dress it up. Okay.
Okay, it's ready.
Put the last piece down in there. And we'll
That looks good.
put in a couple of finished nails. Okay, well, why don't we take it upstairs and see what it looks like.
Okay.
Okay, we're just about there. And there should be a little bit of play space, the way this was measured and designed, so that there'll be lots of air circulation. And you got electronic equipment, want some air to go around it. What do you think?
That's really nice.
Let's stand back and take a look. Yeah, well, you know, the great thing is that it fits in there, but also because it's birch plywood and it's cherry trim, we're going to be able to stain it and put an oil finish on it that'll blend in and match very nicely. Now, this was designed for the VCR and the cable box. The TV will go right in here, and then a little stereo unit goes in the bottom. And of course, on either side, we got plenty of shelves for favorite movies. And when the whole thing is turned off, shut the doors, and it goes away. Thanks a lot, Bob.
Okay.
We got a break for messages. Don't go away. Okay, well now we're up on the 3rd floor, and this will be our last visit here. If you recall, if you've been following the progress, we have 2 teenagers' bedrooms and a bath behind me, and then this great room, this living room, family room, whatever you want to call it, where we've brought in this terrific furniture from the Baker Company. This stuff is built like in the 19th century. It's so nice and heavy, sturdy. It should be here for at least a generation or 2. And the main thing that I'm very pleased about is this 52-inch rear projection Phillips TV set that is just, well, right now we're just playing with our camera in it, but the quality of the picture here is unbelievable. Let's say hi to Joe D'Amato from Bose. Hey, Joe.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Now, the real important part of this whole setup up here, as far as having a media center, is the surround sound. Tell us about that.
We have a new system from Bose Corporation. It's a speaker system, actually. It has some what we call our cube arrays. They're right there on the wall, right next to the television.
Cube arrays.
That's
so
correct.
That means you've got a collection of these cubes around the room.
That's
but
right.
what's this thing you're fussing with over here?
This is we call this the Acoustimass module. And we've actually tucked it neatly in this bookcase, kind of built it in sort of, but I'll pull it out a little bit to show you. This is where all the bass energy for the speaker system comes from. All the explosions that would happen in a movie, or all the music that you would actually listen to that perhaps was reproduced by a bass guitar.
The deep sounds.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. And this can also be mounted in new construction, for example, in between the floor joists, so that you get just the circular part aimed up into the room, and then you put a grill over it.
That's correct. This is the part of the system that's meant to be hidden. So no matter where you sit and stand in the room or enjoy your music and movies,
Now,
you hear the sound from here.
How many of the little cubes do you have in the array?
Well, we have 3 in the front for specific reasons for surround sound, for audio effects in the front, and also the center channel dialogue near the television screen.
So the central one is for dialogue.
Correct.
And the other 2 will pick up what kinds of sounds?
We'll reproduce all the sound effects. Like if a plane was going to come from the right side of the screen,
Yeah.
the sound would actually pass through electronically, and it would give you the effect that there was movement with sound.
That plane was actually flying through your
Absolutely.
living room. Yeah, that's excellent. And
We
then there's
also-
2 more up here.
That's correct. We also have a rear channel speaker, which is up here. This is a pair. They also are able to reproduce the ambient sound, the rear channel, as we call it in the industry. And that's the effect that you get when something moves from front to back, or vice versa.
Great. Well, Joe, I'll let you get back to your work over there. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Bob.
If you recall, we had some difficulties building our dormers up here. These 2 dormers were added on so that we could create an attic that had lots of ventilation and light. We did get our variants, and now they are completed. And of course, we're down to the window seats, and you can practically sleep a kid up here. And the controls are all here for, you know, sound, music, etc. And then over at this end, what I consider to be the real focal point of the room is this terrific Palladian window from Marvin. This is the south side of the house, so that during the day this is flooded with light. And of course, you can't really have happy teenagers in a family room without a microwave, little Marvell refrigerator that fits neatly under the counter where we can keep sodas and stuff. And generally speaking, a very, very comfortable 3rd floor. Got a break for messages. Now go away. That's going to wrap things up, but don't miss next week's show. I'll be giving you a personal tour of my finished house. Till then, I'm Bob Vila. It's good to have you home again.